Jessica, all right, you're up. I enjoyed reading your writing here, and if you've looked through some of the other videos in this thread, I do mention to students that it's really super important to give a written summary of your experience associated with each of the assignments, not only for this class, but all of your classes. And I think the reason that's so important is because it gives we instructors a great insight into how you're learning. It really does, and I think this is no exception here. This is great. This tells me a lot about what you're retaining, what you're learning, and how you're approaching your learning. And I think I love it. It's pointing in the right direction for sure. I'm muscle cars. I'm not into muscle cars, but I'm into music in the 60s and 70s. That's relevant because that's where you get your inspiration, right? That's important. That's an important part of graphic design. We know that. So that's relevant. Thank you for mentioning that. Turquoise Mustang convertible, highly into vans and buses, having lived in full time with the band. I get that, and you know what? I I remember it. I do. I remember living in bands for brief periods of time. Not like you did. I mean, we just doing local music around the Cincinnati, Cleveland circuit. Um, but yeah, I remember. Okay, access is a nice challenge. You know, how your type of focus on small 5x5. So that's great that you're appreciating the size and the scale as associated to the learning outcomes and the competencies associated with this assignment. So great job, loving it. Let's go ahead and take a look at. Hey, I just realized I never popped open your. Oh, well, I'll be looking at this for the first time. All right, excellent. Let's go ahead and take a look. I just want to reduce a little bit. Okay, now I've run into this a couple of times. Okay, center alignment, and we don't want to center align. Now, center alignment is something that most graphic designers stay away from. I do. I haven't center aligned anything in 25 years. If I do center align, it's a very, very formal black tie affair with script file, like a formal wedding, so to speak, right? And even that's really super old school. So I stay away from center alignment for two reasons. Number one, it doesn't adhere to a grid, okay? So you spend your time building these grids, and if you're just going to center align, there's no reason to build a grid, right? Center alignment is you take a composition, you take your element, put it in the center, and you're done. Alternative alignments, however, require an understanding of the grid and an understanding of negative space and how we use negative space to our advantage in design, right? So look at this negative space right here that you're creating. Very interesting, right? As opposed to this symmetry. What do we know about symmetry? We know that it's definitely not the most interesting thing in visual communication. So we want to stay away from symmetry. No, don't get me wrong. There's going to be a time when a client's going to require or request center alignment, and that's a call that you're going to have to make according to each individual a job that you confront. However, I do highly, highly recommend that for this class, you stay away from center alignment from now until we're done. I would be lying to you if I was to say practicing center alignment is going to enhance your typographic skills. It won't. Okay, so let's go ahead and forget center alignment. Okay, so first contrast, no contrast in size or weight. Hierarchy is based on grouping. You got it, right? The second is one new size, one new weight. There we have it. New size, new weight. Excellent. Let's get rid of that center alignment. The third is really super interesting as well, but again, let's get rid of that center alignment. Now, one thing I noticed just now is right here, you're introducing new text. You don't want to do that. You want the text to be identical in all four compositions. That way we're comparing apples to apples, so to speak. So let's make sure we do that. We don't want to introduce any vertical or horizontal rules because that is assisting in hierarchy in a way that wouldn't be considered typographic. We want to stick with typographic hierarchy. Here, this fourth one, we want to break that grid. You want to break that grid. So any way you can. I mean, if you want to do a web search, how to break the grid in typography or something like that, you'll see a bunch of examples. So I'm going to break the grid on this. Also, if you notice in the course instructions, the assignment instructions, it indicates that the car should be cropped and it should be black and white and bleed in two areas. Now you're bleeding in two areas, sure, but you're not cropped and you're in color. So we want to crop that out, let's get that out of its background, take it into Photoshop, do a black and white levels adjustment layer, place it back in there, and make sure it bleeds in two areas. That means bleeds in two areas, of course, on a cropped image would mean, like, let's say right here, that tire would bleed right there, and then maybe the bumper would bleed off back there, right? Okay, real quick housekeeping. Course announcements, be sure to go through it and go through it again. This is there's a ton of information in the week 3 announcement, a ton, including this great example of the assignment. Then in the assignments page itself, there's some more examples, some more grid use, some more video tutorials, etc., etc. And then here, this is what I'm after. Week 3 presentation structure and space. About halfway down the page, underneath that resume with the orange header, boop, boop, right there, boom. That's what we're after. Take a look at that. That's how you do this assignment, exactly. Introducing new techniques to enhance or create hierarchy, right? Note that nothing center aligned. Anyway, take a look at that. And that's also on page 101 of your textbook. So be sure to supplement that with the textbook as well. So, all right, that's what we're after. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications, let me know. I'll be glad to provide anything in that regard. Just let me know if anything comes up. All right, Jessica, fantastic start. Thank you very much.